Have you ever wondered why you seem to be on the overwhelm hamster wheel all the time? In this episode, let's chat about what I call your overwhelm baseline, and then I'm going to poke the proverbial bear with a question for you to truly consider about why you keep ending up as a stressed out super giver and having to deal with overwhelm again. By the end of this video, you will be better positioned to know what your benchmark for measuring your current state of being is and why that's important for stress management. Plus, you'll have curiously explored 7 potential reasons why you always end up back on that damn hamster wheel. And of course, I've created another fab free download, Overcoming Overwhelm, that will assist you to define your baseline, and it lists out these reasons to help you to easily recognize them if or when they occur for you. The link is in the description box below. Keep watching if you want to gain insight into identifying what are likely to be unconscious patterns, and then to be able to develop strategies for how to handle overwhelm from a more proactive perspective. If you see value in this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It makes such a huge difference to help me grow my channel. So here we are at the 4th and final video in this series focusing on overwhelm. Let me give you a quick recap. In part 1, I shared the fundamental difference between stress overload and overwhelm, focusing in on what everyday stress looks like and when it turns into overwhelm for you, and how you, as a super giver, might react or respond in both the short and long term. I also explained what your stress responses can look like. These are the 4 Fs: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And I offered you the 4 Fs stress response freebie to download. In part 2, I shared how you can prevent sliding into overwhelm with 8 fundamental life lessons that I personally use to bolster me when the curveballs arrive, or when it just feels like there's too much going on for this little old people pleaser. I offered you my free 8 tips to prevent overwhelm download, outlining those lessons for you to refer back to as well. Then in part 3, I shared what you can do to cope when you're in overwhelm, and some stress management ideas and activities that are a little different. I showed you how to get your body through the stress response first, and then how to baby step through the brain fog using my overwhelm first aid kit that I also offered as a free download. All the links to the previous videos and all the downloads are in the description box below if you'd like to check them out. As super givers, we all experience times of overwhelm. It is a state of being that arises when you feel like you have too much to handle and not enough resources to manage it all. This can manifest in many different ways, such as feeling anxious, overstimulated, or uncomfortable, and can lead to difficulties in making decisions, regulating your emotions, and generally enjoying life. One way to address overwhelm is to establish a baseline for yourself. This means identifying what you consider to be your access to ease of clarity, enjoyment, decisions, and emotional regulation. By doing so, you can create a benchmark against which you can measure your current state of being. To establish your baseline, you need to take stock of your mental and emotional state when you're feeling at your best. This might involve reflecting on times when you felt calm, focused, and content. You can ask yourself questions like, what did I do during those times when I felt calm? How did I feel when I was focused? What thoughts were going through my mind when I was content? By understanding what contributes to your well-being, you can start to build out a picture of your baseline. And once you've identified your baseline, you can start to notice when you're deviating from it. This might involve paying attention to your triggers for dis-ease, such as anxiety, overstimulation, discomfort, or busyness. For example, you might notice that you start feeling anxious when you have looming deadlines, or that you become overstimulated when you spend too much time on social media. By becoming aware of your triggers, you can start to take steps to manage them. This might involve setting boundaries around your use of social media, or prioritizing your important over urgent workload to reduce stress. You can also develop coping strategies to help you navigate difficult situations, such as practicing mindfulness or taking regular breaks. The key is to be proactive in managing overwhelm. Rather than waiting until you're in the midst of a crisis, you can use your baseline as a guide to help you stay on track. By checking in with yourself regularly and making adjustments as needed, like I spoke of in the previous videos, you can maintain your ease of clarity, enjoyment, decisions, and emotional regulation. Of course, there will be times when you inevitably deviate from your baseline. Life is full of ups and downs, and you cannot control everything that happens to you. However, by establishing a baseline, you give yourself a roadmap for navigating the challenges that come your way. You can approach difficult situations with greater resilience and self-awareness, knowing that you have a solid foundation of well-being to draw from. While overwhelm is a common experience for many supergivers, it's not something you have to accept as inevitable. By establishing a baseline for yourself, you can identify what contributes to your well-being and take steps to manage your triggers for dis-ease. With a proactive approach to self-care, you can maintain your access to ease of clarity, enjoyment, decision-making, and emotional regulation, even in the face of the challenges you know life is going to throw at you. I'd love to hear what some of your baselines or triggers look like, so do let me know in the comments. I want to take some time now to introduce an idea that may trigger you, but I think it's important to poke the bear every now and then to make you really stop and take notice. As I've pointed out, overwhelm is a common experience that many supergivers face in their daily lives. It can be caused by various factors such as work pressure, personal responsibilities, and unexpected events. However, despite the discomfort that comes with being overwhelmed, it's possible that it may be serving you in some way. So I invite you to pop your curiosity cap on and let's explore the idea of whether overwhelm could be serving you and how to identify it. A rule of thumb when it comes to human behavior is that you tend to do things that move you toward pleasure or take you away from pain. You seek out experiences that make you feel good and you avoid those that make you feel bad. Therefore, if you find you're experiencing overwhelm with a degree of regularity, it's possible that there is something about it that is serving you. It's essential to understand that your behaviors and habits are often unconscious, and they may stem from childhood conditioning or past experiences. Therefore, it's crucial to approach this topic from a place of curious observation without blame or shame. To begin identifying how overwhelm could be serving, you can start by making a list. Take some time to reflect on your experiences of overwhelm and write down anything that comes to mind. Here are 7 examples to get you started. Number 1, attention seeking. When you're overwhelmed, you may seek attention from others. This could be a way of getting validation, support, or sympathy. It may be that you have learned from past experiences that Being overwhelmed leads to others taking notice of you and providing you with the care and attention that you need. Number 2, control. Overwhelm could be serving you by providing a sense of control over your life. It may be that you feel you need to be busy and have a lot to do in order to feel productive and in control. Alternatively, you may feel that being overwhelmed gives you an excuse to avoid things you don't want to do, giving you a sense of control over your schedule. Number 3, avoidance. Overwhelm may be serving you by allowing you to avoid things you don't want to face. It could be that you use overwhelm as an excuse not to have to deal with uncomfortable emotions, situations, or people. Number 4, familiarity. Overwhelm may be serving you by providing a sense of familiarity and comfort. It may be that you are so used to feeling overwhelmed that it's become a familiar state of being, and you feel uncomfortable when you're not in that state. Number 5, martyrdom. Overwhelm could be serving you by allowing you to play the role of a martyr. You may feel that by being overwhelmed, you're sacrificing yourself for the good of others or in achievement of your goals. Number 6, self-preservation. Overwhelm may be serving you by helping you to protect yourself. You may feel that if you're overwhelmed, you can avoid taking risks or putting yourself in situations where you may fail or be rejected. Number 7, procrastination. Overwhelm may be serving you by allowing you to procrastinate. You may feel that by being overwhelmed, you have an excuse not to start tasks or projects or to put them off until later. Once you've identified how overwhelm could be serving you with those 7 reasons, or you may find some of your own, it's essential to reflect on whether these patterns are helping or hindering you. If the ways in which overwhelm is serving you are beneficial, such as providing a sense of control or allowing you to protect yourself, then it's important to find healthier ways to continue these patterns. For example, if you find that overwhelm provides you with a sense of control, you could try breaking down your tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks so that you can feel in control without becoming overwhelmed. However, if the ways in which overwhelm is serving you are hindering you, such as causing you to procrastinate or avoid uncomfortable emotions, then it's important to explore the ways to address these patterns. It may be helpful to seek dedicated support from a therapist or a coach like me who can help you to identify and work through any underlying issues that may be contributing to these patterns. It's also important to recognize that while overwhelm may be serving you in some way, it is ultimately a form of self-sabotage. When you allow yourself to become overwhelmed, you're limiting your ability to live a full and fulfilling life. You may miss out on opportunities, neglect your relationships, and ultimately harm your physical and emotional well-being. Therefore, it's important to develop strategies for preventing and managing overwhelm when it arises. I went into greater detail in the other videos, but here are some tips to help you prevent or manage overwhelm. Prioritize. Make a list of your tasks and responsibilities and prioritize them based on their level of importance and urgency. Focus on completing the most important tasks first and delegate or postpone less important tasks. I have another video dedicated to this topic that I'll give you the link to in the description box. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries between work and personal time and learn to say no when necessary. Avoid overcommitting yourself and make time for self-care activities that help you to replenish, recharge, and de-stress. Practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness practices such as meditation, yoga, or deep breathing exercises to help you stay present and focused. These practices can help to reduce stress and promote emotional regulation. Seek support. Don't be afraid to seek support from friends or family or a professional if you're feeling overwhelmed. Having a support system in place can make all the difference in managing overwhelm. And lastly, take breaks. Make sure to take breaks during the day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Step outside, take a walk, or engage in a hobby that brings you joy. Giving yourself permission to take breaks can help to reduce overwhelm and prevent burnout. Overwhelm is a common experience that many supergivers face in daily life. While it may be serving you in some way, it is ultimately a form of self-sabotage that limits your ability to live a truly fulfilling life. By identifying how overwhelm could be serving you, you can gain insight into your unconscious patterns and develop strategies for preventing or managing overwhelm when it arises. With practice, you can learn to recognize your triggers and take proactive steps to reduce overwhelm and promote your overall well-being. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Chat about uncovering the reasons why you keep having to deal with overwhelm. If you'd like to get updated when a new episode is released and to also really help me grow this channel, I'd love you to click the subscribe button. If you'd like any help establishing your overwhelm baseline, identifying your unconscious behaviors and habits that might be contributing to your stress levels, or perhaps preventing or managing overwhelm, let me know. I have my Truly Deeply You program coming out really soon. And this is where we get right into all this great stuff. And if you get on my TDY waitlist, you'll be the first to hear about it when it does. Because with all my heart, I want you to be able to use your voice, make your stand, and live your life your way with confidence and without guilt. Click the TDY waitlist link in the description box below. Thanks for staying to the end, and I trust I'll see you again really soon in the next video.